In 2015, the North Dakota Legislature, Department of Agriculture, and their corporate allies quietly rolled back anti-corporate farming laws that had been serving North Dakotans well since 1932. If allowed into our state, corporate-owned hog and dairy confined animal feeding operations, CAFOs, will locate with little regard to nearby neighbors and cause proven, widespread impact to the health of people and the environment. Dakota Resource Council members joined with the North Dakota Farmers Union and other allies to gather the 20,000 signatures needed to refer these changes to the ballot box. North Dakota voters rejected corporate farming on June 14, 2016 by a 3-to-1 margin, 75.7% to 24.3%. Measure 1 was defeated in all 53 North Dakota counties, but the fight is not over.
It started a couple years ago that we actually went for a drive and we saw them breaking ground and thought, wow, this looks pretty big. And it was the start of large dairies in western Grant County. And as we watched the dairy get built, we saw that there was no erosion control, there was no protection for the land, and there was no protection for the water. And I got concerned, and I also was concerned about the location of the second dairy is at the top of the watershed for the Big Sioux.
So a concentrated animal feeding operation is often referred to as a CAFO. And some of us who've been writing this for so long had to abbreviate it because it's we've written it a lot.
Here about 2 years ago, our neighbors directly to the west of us proposed a 65,000 head cattle feedlot. And we were involved in trying to get that feedlot stopped, and were successful.
Clearly we had grave concerns about our clean air, our water. There's just no way to even fathom the amount of pollution that would just be innate in the air particles that we and our animals would be breathing every day, that would be infected with E. coli, and there's a long list of pathogens involved.
And in addition to the health risks that come from the emissions of air, there's also significant health risk associated with the pollution of water. You can pollute the water with E. coli and various other biological organisms. I think public health is probably the Achilles heel of the large factory farming operations.
There's a little stream or creek that's about 2 miles north of here that I grew up fishing and swimming in. And it's polluted to the point where there's no fish in it. They don't recommend any physical contact with the water because of the environment.
In South Dakota, the Big Sioux is not safe for immersion recreation. So do you let your children go to the park and play in the water? You're not supposed to. It's dangerous. And we can see it. There are maybe 1 or 2 neighbors that will benefit, but the rest of the people put up with the other parts of what comes with factory farming. I think the family farmers, for the most part, are more attached to the land and the legacy they leave behind.
Corporate farms tend to steal words like family farm and sustainable, and they use those words, and a corporate farm may find a family farm and they put their buildings and facilities on there, and then they'll call it a family farm because they signed a contract with the farmer. So to me, it really comes down, I don't really care whether they're corporate or family. If they're taking care of the land the way somebody living on the land would, I can accept that. I just know that in general, corporate farms do not do that.
Without a substantial change with how we locate them and monitor them, I think that South Dakota will very quickly go the way of Iowa, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin. There are counties in Wisconsin that their groundwater is contaminated with E. coli. We don't learn from other people's mistakes, and we should. I wish people would look to the next generation and recognize the legacy that we have. I'm frustrated at our state officials and some of our water district officials that they seem to think poor water quality is a byproduct of ag, and that's okay. That's not true.
Initially, we started out thinking it was probably just us against them, and as we started talking to more neighbors, there was a lot of people that did not like it, and so we started gathering evidence as to what other large feedlots did to communities. And as we gained more knowledge, we presented our knowledge to the county commissioners. In the end, what really got the county commissioners' attention was the actual costs of building roads and maintaining roads. A lot of the costs that the feedlot did not account for was going to fall on the county and the taxpayers.
Where does your water come from? And do you like to hunt and fish? And are you willing to, 5 years down the road, cough up more tax money to have your water treated because it's contaminated? Learn from our mistakes, learn from the mistakes in Iowa, Wisconsin. The list is long.
What can we do as just individual people out here? We seem to have so little power relative to them. And my response has always been that I think that each of us kind of has a purpose. We have a sense of what it is that we can do to better the situation that we're involved in. The best thing that we can possibly do is figure out what we can do to influence our little piece of the world. It's not our job alone. We have to depend upon other people to find out what they can do and to do their share of it. And then together we can change it. That's the way change comes about, one person at a time.
If you don't want to spend the rest of your life in litigation trying to protect your clean air and water, please do the work now. Defeat the opportunity for CAFOs to just completely inundate and take over your clean air, your clean water. External costs will be a burden that you need to calculate. And they're not going away once they're approved and they're started. Your land values will decrease. Your opportunity to make a change is over. The time has passed. So North Dakota, the time is now.
Family farming and ranching are the foundation of North Dakota's economy and shared values. People who live in our state are part of a local community and who choose to be proud stewards of the land. Don't let corporations determine North Dakota's future. It's in our power to keep a system in place that has been working since 1932. We can shape the future of agriculture in North Dakota. Even more family farms and ranches instead of none.